Otherwise players, today I'm here to show you a deck of a set that came out recently. It's a deck from Arifureta. I'm going to be showing you a build of the 8-gate deck for that set. So this set was a light novel that I read back in the day when I was a teenager. And it's pretty edgy, it's trashy isekai fantasy, but I thought it was pretty fun, so I picked up a playset, and I have more decks to show later as well. But starting off, we're doing something which is probably more common, more competitive wise, before I get into some more funky builds, right? So we're gonna see how this 8-gate deck works today, right? So starting off, for level zeros, we're playing 4 of the Hajime Salvage Ricky. Alright, so it's on play gets level 5, both on play and when sent to waiting room, you can pay 1 clock 1 to salvage Tortoise character. Alright, this card's really strong. After playing with it, it's very nice to have this kind of profile on the deck. It's very flexible and it scales better than other Rickies in the late game. I really like this card. And then the reason why you would play the 8-gate deck, in my opinion, or one of the main reasons, is for this level 0. So this level 0 UA play, you can resonance with the level 3 Hajime, so this one, right? You show it to your opponent, and it's Akatsuki. Now, I never thought I'd see the day where another on-play Akatsuki got printed, but here we are. I guess it is tied to a fate condition that you have to be playing the level 3 gate combo to play this card. But yeah, no, it's really strong. Just being able to filter through your deck at like insane turtle speeds. It also has a blink effect, which synergizes with other cards in the deck and can get rid of like annoying stuff. For example, if your opponent's playing like some kind of 2-soul deck, you can blank their 2-soul effect and whatnot, right? So very, very strong card. And then the next core level 0 in the deck is 4 copies of this Mew. I considered cutting this down to like maybe 3, but I think you need it for the green fix in this deck. There's not that many green cards, so might as well play 4. This is really good because a lot of times in this deck, you can, spoilers, I don't play any oversizes or runners or anything, but you can like just open up like this card. If you have the resistance target in your opening hand, you can, hand fix with it. If not, you can fetch the resistance target later, but you play this out, attack with it, let it die, next turn play this, you can guarantee salvage this back, and then play it again. So yeah, if you have the level 3, you already got off to look for add 1 effects to go through your deck and to fix your hand for what you need for level 1. So it's insane consistency. It's also on tap give 1k to something, which comes up sometimes, but the main effect is on play you can dish a card to look at the top card of your deck if it's an established level X or lower. Right? Really popular profile these days. I don't know why this one's double R. A lot of sets have it like rare or uncommon slot, but it is what it is. So yeah, these 12 zeros I'd say are the main level zeros in the deck. Moving on, we also have 3 of this UA Brainstormer. So it's a Brainstorm 5 Salvage Brainstorm, and it only hits gate triggers. It also has another effect where if one of your opponent's cards is sent to memory, you can choose a character on your field and give it +2 key power. So it's pretty funny versus memory decks, and you have a lot of cards that can also trigger it in your deck. So one of them is this Akatsuki, right? So if you blink something with the Akatsuki effect, what happens is you send it to memory, and then your opponent plays it back onto their stage. So since your opponent has a card that got sent to memory, you can then give something 2k power for the Brainstorm. And then if you have 2 of them in the back, you could give 4,000 power. Well, 2k split, right? So that's really, really strong. And that makes this card pretty insane, in my opinion. The Brainstorm 5 is also really nice for going through your deck and just for general consistency. You also have other cards that send opponent cards to memory, so yeah, this is a pretty insane Brainstorm, and one of the main reasons to play the 8-gate build. And then last up for level 0, I have a bunch of 1-ups for utility. So the first one is this Hajime. It's on play, you pay 2, clock one of your characters on your field, and then you can salvage any climax or event. So the problem with this deck is because it's 8-gate, you have a hard time getting to your climaxes because it's not like Gold Bar or 8 pants or anything, right? So you need ways in your deck to be able to help you get to those climaxes to loop your combos and sometimes define the climax for your level 3 combo as well. In a similar vein, I'm playing one of this Ico. So this Ico lets you on play stock a card from your hand if you want, and also clock a card from your hand to top X for any card, top 4 for any card. So also another way to find climaxes, and also the add 1 stock can help you make plays sometime. Then another card is this Shea and Yue. So this one's effect is you can ditch a card to put this at the bottom of your deck, and then search your deck for any tortoise trait character, and then shuffle it. So it's just just a good searcher in general, but I like playing this card because this deck really relies on having the level 3 Hajime in hand to Resonance, and you know, you have ways to find it, like your Riki can salvage it since there's no level restriction on the salvage Riki, but being able to just tutor one out of the deck is very useful, so this card's been really nice every time I draw on it. And you can use it to search anything else you want as well. So it's a pretty nice one-of. And then the last one-of I have is this Yui Climax Swapper. You can play the one from the TD if you want. I actually don't have TDs in right now. They're coming in a bit later because I got them from Ami, and they're attached to an Ami order from a friend just so I can skimp on shipping a little bit. So this CX swap, it's pretty unique. What it can do is, instead of pay 1 stock, discard a climax, you sack another character on your field when you play it to climax swap. So something funny that you can do is you can play this Mew, right? Since it's level 0, it's in your waiting room, you can always guarantee salvage it with Mew, and then play it, sack the Mew to get your climax. So that's a stockless climax swap, and it's very useful throughout the game. So yeah, pretty nice card. Just have some kind of climax swap in general, I think, for this deck. You can play the TD one, like I said, that one has Power Pump, which can be useful as well. But that one does cost 1 stock, whereas this is better on the stock economy. But up to you, right? I think that's 19 zeros in total. Good number for consistency, since this is more of an early game deck, so you do want to be as consistent in the early game as possible, just to push damage, get your resources, and whatnot. So then the next card is, let's see, it's 4 copies of this Yue. So this is your level 1 climax combo. Alright. So what this does is, if you kill more other characters, you guess what can continue. So it's always sitting at 5/5, which is not a bad number, pretty defendable. When you play the Yue Gate Climax, you resonate with the level 3 Hajime, so the same one as the Akatsuki. And if you do that, you can top check if it's a character added to your hand, and then blind stock a card from your deck. You don't have to do the blind stock, that's if you may. So sometimes if you see a climax, I choose not to do it. It depends. If it's the first one that you check, I will generally do it just because you need to fire off your other combos. But if it's like your last instance of the combo, right, you check gate, you can think, okay, well, do I need the stock or do I want a salvage from the gate? Sometimes the salvage is better, so I don't stock it and I just choose to salvage with the gate. So it's a really strong combo. It's like Union on crack, basically. You don't have to reverse, and you don't have to top check level 1 or higher, just any character to add to hand. The problem with this is that it all triggers during the climax phase. So if you have multiple going, it's very likely to just stock a bunch of climaxes, and then since the first thing that you're doing before you attack, all your climaxes are like stuck deep down in your stock. So that's one issue I've had with this combo. Although having like a few climaxes stuck, you know, it's not ideal, but in a funny way, it makes you not die to stock wash as hard, which this deck should definitely be scared of. But yeah, in general, if you stock a bunch of climaxes, it's definitely not a fun experience. So that's one issue I've had with this combo. You can't really pay it out. So just watch out for that when you're playing this, but otherwise this feels great to use because you just get so much stock charge in one turn, and you can maintain a full hand at the same time, right? So very strong card. To support this combo, I'm playing 4 copies of this Shea. So on play, it gets character X500, so it's an assassin, and then it's also a JC, so if another character is front attacked, you can pay 1 stack this to bounce that character to your hand. So the Shea helps you loop your Yue combo very nicely, although you do have to splash blue for this at level 1. But I think it's pretty worth playing, especially because your level 1 combo charges stock, so you have all that extra stock to pay out for the Shea, and yeah, it works pretty well together. Right. So pretty strong level 1 lineup. I think this deck's strength is definitely its level 0, level 1 lineup. These cards are all fantastic. And then the last few level 1s I'm playing is one of this Ico. So since we are splashing blue, I'm playing one of these. You can't really use the Ditch Climax to salvage effect, its first effect, where if you trigger Climax, because you're playing 8 Gate and not 8 Pants or Go Forward. But I thought the anti-burn one might be relevant in some matchups. You could turn it on because your level 3 combo is the Hajime. If you have 2 of the combo, you have the anti-burn 1 active. But I don't know how relevant the anti-burn 1 is, so maybe you could take this out. I know there's like a few decks that my locals it hits, but outside of that, in the meta, I think most decks have kind of shied away from burn 1s in general. And if you play against something like the Shinado combo from Azurlane could just like bounce this back to your hand, so they don't really care about it, right? So I don't know, it's there. You're playing blue anyways. Sometimes I just level it for blue if I see it's a matchup that I don't care about. So yeah, you know, one of. And then another card I'm playing is this Teal Adachi. So this one sends your opponent's early place to memory, which synergizes with your Brainstorm to give power. So that's pretty cool. There's another anti-early play card that I'm playing, but this one's kind of more guaranteed to get rid of some annoying stuff. So I'm playing one copy of this, and then one copy of the anti-change counter. So this one you ditch 2 to anti-change, and you also send it to memory. So you can also use this to trigger your Brainstorms to power pump your board during your opponent's turn, which can be pretty spooky sometimes. So that's really cool interaction that the deck has. Alright, and then for level 2s, I'm just playing 3 level 2s. So I'm playing one memory kick counter, again triggers your Brainstorms, and it's a nice cheap defensive counter that this deck has. Not that you have like any really other defensive options. Another is this UA. So this UA is an assist 1500 to all Tortoise characters. So it's not even a level assist, it's just all characters if I get 1500. That's pretty strong. And then on play you can pay 1, ditch 1 to search your deck for Gate Climax. So pretty good. Like I said, this deck needs help getting to its climaxes, so this is really nice. And then the last card is this 2-1 UA, where on attack you get 6k versus level 3s, and then if you reverses anything, you can kick it to memory. So this also triggers your Brainstorms and stuff. This is really funny. What you can do is you can play this out at level 2 if there's a level 3 you need to get rid of, right? You can blink one of your opponent's characters with your Akatsuki, give power to this, hit over something, kick it to memory, and then give power to another lane. So it's always really, really strong. Next up for level 3, obviously I'm playing 4 of the Hajime. So this is the Resonance target for the deck. And the Climax combo is on attack, you ditch a card from your hand and you burn equal to that card's level +1. That's the only effect it has. I think this card's a little bit underwhelming. If you get the full setup, it is, you can think of it as something like better Marine, right? Because Marine's also burn on attack, but that one's fixed at burn 2, whereas this one you can control what you burn. But it doesn't have an on-play effect, and unlike Marine where it's 4 stock full combo and also takes very climaxes, this is, you need 6 stock to triple, right? So I think the ceiling for this is decent, but I think it's a lot of setup for a somewhat mid-winning result, right? So I think that's a problem with this card. Also the fact that it doesn't heal at all really hurts your sustain game. Next up for level 3s, I'm playing 3 of the Teal early play. So this is the main healer in the deck. It's a pretty funny card. When it attacks, it gets 3k power, and then during its battle, if you don't cancel damage, it gets 4000 power. Because the joke is she's a muscle shift, right? So if she takes damage, then she gets power from it. So that's really funny, and the power effect is not once per turn, so if your opponent has a bunch of like separate damage instances in her battle, she can gain a bunch of power from that. So really funny card. It's pretty good in testing, and it gives you a stock out at level 2 because you do want to start converting your stock to doing stuff, right? You don't just want to hoard up a bunch of stock because then you die to something like a stock wash. And then I'm also playing 1 copy of this Yua early play. So this one's a 4 more characters early play. Gets 500 per other character, and then on play you can put the Hajime Riki under her. This one, right? So you can put this under her as a marker, and then if you do, your opponent takes 1 damage. So that's really funny because it's a bit of a loot card, right? The idea is she's kind of like going down on top of Hajime. Hajime is on the bottom, that's why you marker him on the bottom. But you know, it is what it is. So I'm playing this one because, like I said, you need stockouts at level 2, and you can't always really play the Tio, so this requires 2 or less climaxes. So this one you can pretty much always do. So I'm just playing 1 copy of it. It's also nice at level 3 because it kind of gives you like essentially a 5th Hajime. Because if you're going to be ditching level 0 to burn 1 with Hajime anyways, this basically does the same thing. And this is also a main phase burn, so you can get information out of your opponent's clock, like does your 1 stick, does it hit, and depending on how that goes, you might want to burn different amounts with your Hajime, right? Because you have that control over it. So pretty strong card overall. I've played it quite a few times in testing, so yeah, this has been good. I think the alternative, if you don't want to play this, let me find it. I think you can play a copy of this Shizuku. So it's on play, sack another character and salvage a climax. So it's another way to get to climaxes. Maybe this is worth playing over like one of the level 0s that get to climaxes. And then on attack, if 2 or more other classmate or teacher trait characters, you can pay 2 ditch 1 to burn 2. So since you know your Hajimes are classmate trait, if you have 2 Hajime and then 1 Shizuku, you can use her burn effect as well. And these don't cost stock, right? So you can attack with these and then attack with the Shizuku, pay 2 for her effect. So I think this is probably a strong addition to the deck as well. I might take out level 0 to try playing this, or maybe cutting this. But so far this has been too long tested. Alright, and then the last card we're playing is 1 copy of the Shea stock swap. So I think the sad thing about this stock swap is it would have been preferable if it was maybe pay 1 stock, as long as ditch 2 cards, and your level 3 combo already has to ditch cards and doesn't cantrip or anything. So generally, if you do this, you can't triple combo. You would have to double combo and stock swap. But yeah, it's a pretty strong stock swap because also on play nukes your opponent's board for -2 key power, so it just lets you kill everything there. So you know, stock swap always good to have in any deck, just to prevent some degenerate game states from if you're playing against like Kanta Marvin, right? Sometimes they loop their combo, they farm 1,000,000 stock. Well, you can punch them with this. If your local still plays Dual Lane Tokyo Revengers, right? They farmed up like 15 stock wash them, just kill them, right? Very strong profile. Okay, and then obviously for climaxes, we're playing 4 and 4 of each key climax. Okay. So in general, like I said, I think this deck's strengths are definitely in its early game. It has a lot of great utility cards, very consistent. You can play very aggro without losing resources early on, so I would encourage you to do that. Just go for triple attacks at 0. As long as you have like your Hajime Riki, or you get to your level 1 combo, or your Brainstorm, you can get those resources back really easily. At level 2, I wouldn't say this deck is more of like it doesn't really have a strong mid-game plan, right? But it does have solid answers to what your opponent's doing. You have a lot of ways to generate extra power to beat opponent level 3s, and then you have a lot of anti-change options, such as like the level 1s you're playing, where you have this Dachi, you have your memory counter, so you can really slow down your opponents if they're playing some of the more like committal mid-game strategy. And I think the deck's weaknesses lie more in its top end. The finisher combo isn't bad, but it's not like insane either. And despite that, it lacks like any form of like resource gain or sustain. So if you're behind in damage, I think is where this deck really struggles, because your only form of sustain is really from these tiers, right? And you can't always really play these that much, since their condition is 2 or less climaxes. So there are certain game states where these are just dead cards in your hand, and that can be a bit annoying. So with this deck, I would always try to, like I said, play as aggressively as possible. So one, you can generate those early game leads, and then if you're ahead, then that can translate to easy finish with the Hajimes, but if you're behind, it can be definitely a bit sketchy. So that's the deck profile. Let me know if you liked it or what you would change. I think overall this list has been solid for me. It's performing well at locals and when I'm playing with friends. I'll be showing more Arifureta deck lists later. Arifureta, Jesus, that's a mouthful. Stay tuned, there's more coming. Peace.